Welcome back to the Tongue of the Trees. I'm Elizabeth Ashley, the Secret Healer, and today we're talking about what is lime essential oil good for. There was lots of spoilers about the emotional, mental and spiritual aspects in the physical, because to me it's always hard to extricate them, but particularly with citrus oils it is. So because I mentioned to you earlier that my son is homeschooling, I've got notes everywhere because he's got most of my IT, so you might see me going to the side as I'm reading. So on my slide today I can tell you about the emotional stuff that I've written. Really, we're talking about how refreshing and invigorating and rejuvenating it is. An interesting thing to read, if you read The Fragrant Pharmacy, The Fragrant Mind, A Fragrant Bridge by Valerie Ann Warwood, she puts the oils into personalities and she describes them as people, and I find that very, very helpful. And she will say to you, the lime person is very happy-go-lucky. They've got a very relaxed grip on things. And, you know, if a citrus person works into the room, you just start smiling, you know, you can say anything, they'll just think it's funny, they won't take offence, you know, and they seem to be light on their feet and they're nimble and they're kind of just probably got floaty, pretty, sassy clothes on, and, you know, she's just a bit flirty, just a bit sassy. That's the energy that we get imbued when we use lime. But where Mandarin's very chatty, and funnily I'm doing Mandarin this month as well. Mandarin's very chatty, clever conversationalist. Lime's more about thought, you know. It's more up here than here. So it's very alert, very optimistic, very light and airy, and very thinking. If you remember back to the poem, how it talked about looking at complexities of things, being able to see your way through things, to be able to dissect information, you know. One of my favourite words, I used to work with somebody who was absolutely sure I'd made this word up. To delineate things, to be able to go, right, that belongs there, to explain things clearly. Very much lime kind of energy. And I'm just looking about the energetics. If you use the Tongue of the Trees cards, what you do is you pull a card, and if you read that, you'll be able to see how it talks to you. But these here are deeper stuff to go more deeply into the medicine. So it's ruled by, in traditional Chinese medicine, wood energy. Wood energy is the spring. And if we think about, we've been huddled down. In fact, I think now we're definitely going into the winter as I record this. We're also going into the COVID winter. We're all going to be locked away and snuggle down, and the best way to do it is to just go into hibernation. You know, if you kick against that, you're going to fail, aren't you? But hopefully come the spring, the wood energy will rise, the leaves will start to unfurl, the branches will start to reach out, and we too will be able to reach out. And so lime is very much kind of, oh, I'm just going to feel my way out there, explore a little bit. You know, I'm not nervous of doing this at all. You know, I'll reach out and I just kind of want to probe, see how things feel, meet some new people, get a bit more social, start going out visiting places. Wood energy is all about this kind of coming out of yourself, reaching out and being more social. It's ruled about by Mars. So it's interesting that we are doing it during, this video is filmed in a Mars retrograde. The Mars retrograde is quite a controversial thing, really, when we think about the Mars archetype. So if we say Mars rules ambition, it rules aggression, it rules sexuality, it rules drive, motivation, the blood. So any kind of essential oil that's ruled by Mars will look at that. And incidentally, if this part fascinates you with these cards, you can also buy the knowledge base, which goes much more deeply into the energetics. It's a set of 45 videos, I think, where each one's about half an hour lecture. So there'll be half an hour one on wood energy, on Mars energy. So we can see that normally in a Mars retrograde, as it seems like the planet goes backwards, then that motivation, that anger, that aggression would start to wane. And some interpreters would say, yes, that's the case. Other astrological interpreters would say, actually, no, that's not right. It actually is like it's on crack. And if you are like me and you sit in the retrogrades and you consider what's going on, you can see that actually both is true at the moment, or both are true. So whilst I have very little motivation to get anything done, and which is great because that's what we need while everything's slowing down, and you know, the energy's slowing down for going into winter, going into lockdown. We don't want to be rushing. But what it also does is it draws it into a very focused, like a focused beam on what you do want to achieve. Everything else just goes by the wayside. But then things that you are passionate about, passion is Mars, things that you are passionate about become zoned in. It's very interesting that you can feel it, you just can feel it. So there's two things that I'm really trying to achieve at the moment. One is the Melissa book, and two is some other work with another professional. And I'm working very, very hard. I'm just making sure that this gets done, and I have no passion for it at the moment at all. Just focusing on get it done. It's a good job it's already written. But it's very interesting to feel how the energy is changing around you. So then you can see how Mars would play out through Lime, that we kind of we look at how complex and convoluted the cat's cradle is. We unpick it until we're down to just one long line, and we go, right, this is where we work. We work on the one important thing. That's where the focus goes. That's where the Mars energy goes. It's not enough for everything else. We're just going to do that one thing. Very strange, but absolutely bang on. So it's obviously a top note, and Gergely will talk more about that. Top notes is usually mental head stuff. That's why we have so much emotional, mental, spiritual energy in the citruses, because the citruses are top notes. In terms of the chakra, definitely brow chakra for thinking, but actually more importantly solar plexus. And solar plexus medicine seems to be waning so much in women at the moment, generally, I've noticed, because it's self-esteem, it's willpower, it's digestion. We remember how we talked about being digestion, and that sort of connection with yourself, that self-trust, that self-belief. So we can see how just smelling it, we take on the personality that Warwood talks about, how she's sassy, how she's flirty, how she's out there, she's doing the wood energy. You can see how it becomes very, very much more confident, don't you? And that is absolutely solar plexus medicine. And again, the most confident of all of the oils is grapefruit, another citrus. It's funny how they fall in these groups. So energetically we would say it was cooling, and it's drying. Of course it's going to be drying because we have this astringency to it, and it regulates chi. So regulates chi and regulates shen. Regulates chi is easy to understand. The chi is the vital life force that goes through us. So we have this lovely strong flow But Shen is more difficult to understand, and actually if you get the knowledge base, there is a deep lesson about Shen. But Shen really is our thought processes, you know. It's kind of the information flow, the energetic flow around our mind. And the science of Shen is a science in itself, you know. It breaks down into harmonizes Shen, all of those different things. But as we can say, it regulates Shen. So therefore, we're not scattered anymore. I told somebody off for the reason, she said, I'm scattered everywhere. You're not scattered. You're showering pieces of womanhood everywhere. That's what you're doing. But it helps us to bring it, to regulate it into a nice, slow, smooth form. So we can say, oh, Mars retrograde, focusing in on what we want to achieve. So it strengthens Vata, strengthens Pitta, reduces Kapha. Interesting. So reduces Kapha is easy to understand. Kapha is, if we think about it in terms of water and earth, which is what the Ayurvedic principle is, water and earth makes mud. Anything that's Kapha is thick and solid and gooey, like quick, like mud. So we can say, okay, so that would mean it would loosen off constipation. It would get through the grease on our skin. Kapha is also congestion on the chest, congestion in the nose. Okay, so yeah, it might not be the first thing that we would think of, but we can see how that action would work. Vata, vapid thoughts, nebulous thoughts, scatteredness, but also dreaminess, very dryness. So it strengthens Vata. So it strengthens those thought processes. It strengthens the dryness. So therefore dries out the skin, dries out the sinuses, dries out the chest. Strengthens Pitta, and actually then that's exactly why it isn't in one of my in my clique, because when I go through and I go, I like you, don't like you, the ones that I don't like are the ones that strengthen Pitta, because I am already so Pitta already. I have the red hair, I have the very pale skin, I have it's very reactive skin, you know, it goes red, it burns very quickly, it's very sharp. I suffer from sharp pains, I suffer from acid reflux, as I said in the first video. All of those are Pitta. So we don't want to bring any of that into it. And also don't forget, very sharp tongue, very sharp temper. I am incredibly Pitta. So to use an oil that is so Pitta is problematic, isn't it? Oh, it would increase my acid, it would increase my bad temper. You know, I'm already those things as it is. I'm already light and airy and quick natured and quick thinker. All of those things that lime bring to me, I would push too far over the edge. So that's interesting, isn't it? And all of that is in the knowledge base, to go much more deeply into that and to understand the essential oils much more from that note. But also it helps us to understand the processes, the psychological processes that are involved in each archetype, particularly in the medical astrology, because that's my forte. So I hope that that has helped you. Let me just have a flick through. Oh, I haven't even got to the end of the video. I thought I had. It's not very easy not having the notes right in front of me. Spiritual. So many cultures say negative spirits hate lime oil, presumably because it's so positive. And so if you are a bit of a witchy person, you may notice that lime is in a lot of protection spells. So let's just have a look. I haven't got Gergely's recipes up here, I've only got my own, but I can tell you that in the recipe hub we have lime recipes for a digestive lotion, an aroma pendant for optimism, an invigorating massage rub, a lotion for thrush, a toenail fungus cream, a rejuvenating diffuser. Oh, we've got a shampoo for glossy hair. Don't remember writing that. A massage oil, a refreshing massage oil for long-term stress. And that's at the bottom. So on top of that, there will be another 3 by Gegley. But I can't tell you what those are off the top of my head because I just don't know. But it gives you a bit of an insight into what you will find in the recipe hub. I have no idea what's outside. It sounds like a steamroller. I hope it's not too noisy on the tape for you. So that is what is lime essential oil for the emotional, mental and spiritual. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to send you over to have a look at the spread to see how the cards work, and then when we come back I will talk a little bit about the safety. I'm going to run through a quick layout for you to show you the different cards. Now, one of the things that we're not going to tell you in this video, in these videos, is the poem that goes with the cards. But for this layout, we will read them to you just so that you get a chance to sort of feel how the different poems look. So I thought I'd show you the cards. As you can see, lovely little box. I'll show you the other side. Boring stuff, except for cool stuff what I read. Okay, so if we open it up, we can see that the cards just have one logo on, and that is because these originally were Gegley's cards. He's been selling these for a long time in Hungary. Mostly they've been bought by kinesiologists, interestingly enough. They've been doing the energy work with them. They haven't got any aromatherapy background, but they've been able to tap into the energetics of the oils to be able to move emotional blockages. So let's show you. So these come out nice and easy because we've got beautiful little ribbons. And let's get rid of that. So if I said to the cards, what energy do I need? What oils will help me do the best job with these videos? Let's have a... Now my friend Belinda used these the other day, and she does have a habit of shuffling them the wrong way. So we'll have to hope that they're all the way right up. I'm not doing a good job of keeping them that way. So let's have a look. What do I need to do a great job? So I think, it's up to you how you do it, but I think cut it 3 ways, cut it back. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So first 3 cards off the top. Cedarwood Virginian. I'll tell you why I'm laughing at that in a minute. Got rose and lavender. That's a beautiful blend, isn't it? Reason why I was laughing about a Cedarwood Virginian is when Gegley and I came to do the notes of all the different cards, we both went, oh, we've done these cards for Cedarwood Virginian and I don't really know how to explain them differently. And because I was doing lots of editing work, I went, oh, just leave it. So yesterday I did a meditation with Cedarwood Virginian and got the most beautiful, beautiful work out of it. So you must tap into that tomorrow, have a listen to that video and see it was really different stuff that came out. So let's have a look. So if we go to the book, we can see that there's a brown streak on cedarwood, and that tells us it's the woods. So we find the woods. Slowly but surely we find the woods. At the back. Okay, so I'm going to use the other cards just to cover up the other pages, because you know what? Sooner or later you're going to have to pay me for something. So, Cedarwood Virginian. Actually, I'll show you this, but I'll read it to you because I'm hoping that it doesn't turn back to front on you, but it may well do. So, Cedarwood Virginian says, hold strong. Don't be swayed by the winds of change around you. Stand tall. Resist the temptation to listen as the naysayers surround you. Keep focused on the job you have in hand. Remain strategic. Don't veer from tactics you've planned. Listen intently to information on the breeze. Remain determined. Your courage is what makes me pleased. Hold strong. Don't be swayed by the winds of change around you. Stand tall. Resist the temptation to listen as the naysayers surround you. Keep focused on the job you have in hand. Remain strategic. Don't veer from tactics you've planned. Listen intently to information on the breeze. Remain determined. Your courage is what makes me pleased. And I'd forgotten, I stopped halfway through because I'd forgotten this is the only one that went like around. It kept repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. And that taps in beautifully to the determination, doesn't it? I'm keeping on reminding you. I'm keeping on reminding you. I'm keeping on reminding you. So, and actually, definitely watch the video on Cedarwood, Virginia, because you'll see just how spooky that is when you see the meditation work I did. Now, you'll also see on here at the bottom of the page, there's the energetics. Now, we're not going to talk about these energetics at all in the video. You might want to go and buy our knowledge base. Now, the knowledge base is completely based on this, and it is a set of lessons on each of the aspects. So, middle to base. You're going to hear about that today when Gergely does his blending. So that's there. It also vibrates on the throat chakra. So what does that mean? Within the knowledge base, there is a complete set of information about the different chakras. We do as a lecture on each different chakra, how it affects on the emotional body, how it affects the physical body, how it affects the mental and spiritual bodies, and how that's working. So when we're looking at the knowledge base, this information here describes how the energies move through the system. What energy shift has taken place that we are getting these different physical problems and mental issues. So we can see that Cedarwood, Virginia operates on the water element and the earth element. And again, in the knowledge base, there's a complete section about, we talk about the about half an hour about the water element, then again about half an hour for the earth element, metal, fire, and whatever the other one is, going out of my head. And then here we can see Sagittarius. Now, so that tells us that what planetary rulership it comes under. This is medical astrology, and this is actually how I see the different energetics playing out. Some people see it through the Ayurvedic, some people see it through Chinese medicine. This is always the lens I see it through. And usually we'll talk about how it's ruled by the moon or the sun or Saturn and the different trends that we see out. And when we look at an archetype like that, it's like, Jade Shoots always says, it's like a metaphor, and that's a great analogy of how you can see the thread playing out right across the medicine. And so you can see that Cedarwood, Virginia is Sagittarius. So in the knowledge base, we talk about the different signs and planets and also the different houses. If I remember right, Angelica, for example, falls under the Pisces, Aries cusp. So that's really quite a difficult one to understand. There's a whole lesson about the Pisces, Aries cusp. And then, again, Chinese medicine, it nourishes yin. What does that mean? What does it mean? It calms Shen. Shen is an interesting phenomenon all in its own right. It's the consciousness, our mental faculties, our imagination, our emotions, God with a small g, God with a big G, all of those aspects. Is a complete lesson about Shen and how the essential oils can affect it and change that to move the energy. And then we can see increases Pitta, reduces Vata, balances Kapha. So it's interesting, actually. I do know at the moment all of my oils tend to come out with earth energy. It's quite interesting hearing me do the earth energy lecture because it's entirely about the challenges I am facing at the moment. But if you are somebody who sells essential oils and you're looking for a way in all of the time, right? You're talking to the person at the school gate, for example, and you can see, she seems a healthy girl, to be honest. She's loving her kids. She seems happy. Imagine somebody who's got a really sing-song voice all the time. Oh, my darling, how did you get on today? Was it lovely? I know. And then child walks off. How are you? To everybody. If that sing-song voice never quite relents, then you can imagine that there's an earth energy imbalance. So any oils that fall under earth energy, are good ones to sell. So yeah, if you are interested in learning more about that, ways in just kind of being able to see, talking to somebody, what might be clues of what's going on of that energetic shift, then head over the knowledge base to have a look at that. So what was our next card? It was Rose, wasn't it? Queen of Roses, as you know. I do love my roses. Let's have a look. So the flowers, I think, are at the front of the book, if I remember rightly. Beautiful pink. Oh, they're both flowers, aren't they? So rose, rose, rose. Damask rose. I was thinking we'd miss Rose out, but it's not under Duff for Rose. It's under, sorry, it's not Rough for Rose. It's Duff for Damask rose. I remember writing this one, actually. This is quite sad. So it says, standing by your graveside or sobbing into your pillow. I know your pain. On the days when you feel lonely, worried or sad, I know your pain. Through the nights where sleep seems far away and you feel like you might break, amidst the anger, the confusion and desolation, I feel your pain. For I was there, remember? When you smelled the roses of their love as your fingertips stroked my petals and tried to avoid the prick of thorn. I felt your hopes, your fears, your joy of deep connection. I ensnared it in my scent to help conjure that affection. In my fragrance, remember hope. Let my aroma you complete. May scent of celebration heal you, calm you and help you sleep. For through me you are never alone, always loved and open to give and receive more. Smell me, open up and feel safe to feel love once more. Now I anticipate that these will be different for everybody, but that's entirely my dad talking to me. I feel quite choked up reading that, actually. When he died, he gave me a rose bush. My cousin works for a rose bush company, David Austin Roses. I'm sure you've heard of them. He's quite a senior manager there, and Dad arranged for a rose called Noble Anthony to be given to me and my sisters at the funeral. So I go and sit and talk to the rose bush. That's a great reminder that my dad's with me today. So that actually, Dad, that really helps. Thank you. So let's have a look at the energetics. We can see middle heart chakra, obviously. Water. Now, again, as I say, in the knowledge base, there is a much bigger lecture on water. But the energy of water is how it can flow around any obstacle and find a way to fill the space. So that's great. That's lovely. And Venus is obviously the planet of love, but there's lots more to do with beauty and money. Actually, it's an interesting lecture on Venus. I like talking about Venus. Balance is Vata, Pitta and Kapha. If you don't know, Vata is very drying, Pitta is hot and fiery and moist, and Kapha is sluggish. So it brings it all into alignment. But in the knowledge base, as I say, different lectures on each of those. So it nourishes the blood. Well, I've got funny blood, actually, so that's useful to know, Dad. Thank you. Yin and essence. So yin is the feminine aspect. It's very gentle and passive and receptive, and it harmonizes the heart and Shen. We just talked about Shen. So we're going to put all these in a blend in a minute. And so last but not least, the cards have told me that I should go for lavender, which I guess is probably just over the page. Still in the pinks, as you can see. Oh, I remember this one too. Cover them up, cover them up. Can you see? There we go. Lavender's blue, dilly dilly, lavender's green. When you breathe me, dilly dilly, softly you dream. Anger and grief, dilly dilly, softly drift by. Worries and hurts, dilly dilly, kiss them goodbye. When you feel tense, dilly dilly, look for the bees. See how they buzz, dilly dilly, resting with ease. Learn from their hum, dilly dilly, for they all know. Learning to rest,
dilly dilly, helps you to grow. Breathe in the scent, dilly dilly, lavender's light. Calm your stressed mind, honey, honey, surrender the fight. Release cares and worries, dilly dilly, I help you to see. Life is so good, dilly dilly, just let it be. Okay, I'm going to let them flow, not force them. This helps, this really helps, you know. I've got to tell you, when I was helping Gerglay do this, he was sending me his notes, and every time they came across it, I was like, oh my goodness, I've got to do the cards. These are really hard. Didn't like my poems at all. Really found them difficult to do, and really I just wanted to be writing my Melissa book, which I kind of still do, but I'm feeling a bit happier now. I've got the cards in my hands and I can see them because they really help. Honestly, they really, really help. So, and of course I might be biased because it's my words talking back to me, but hearing the plant and seeing it written down, it's very, very helpful. So, actually I've probably skipped the most valuable part of the process for speed. But when you turn out your cards, if you have got the oils, I would sit and breathe the oil as you read the poem. And that's very difficult to do on this camera like this, but because then you will really hear, you'll have that connection with the plant. It will open it up to you. So top to middle note, as I say, Gerglay's going to talk to us about the blending. Water, we've just talked about how that finds ways, effortlessly finds gaps to do things, doesn't force it, just gets around any obstacle. Heart chakra again. Mercury, communication, data, information. Yeah, that's very mercurial medicine. We'll talk about that. I know there's a very interesting lecture about Mercury. I originally wrote the Mercury ropes for the pain practitioner program. And so these are quite detailed lectures, about half an hour long, the medical astrology ones, because of course that's my passion. Neutral to cool is the action. Yeah, cooling like the roses. Activates chi. Now again, we'll talk about chi in the knowledge base, but basically it's the life force. You know how we said we talked about Shen? Well, if Shen doesn't have adequate chi forcing it through, then it becomes disrupted. And I always think about it feeling like you're treading water. So the activation of chi calms Shen or nourishes Shen or raises Shen, depending on which essential oil it is. It aggravates Vata. So yes, this is one of my favourite nags. So the world tells you to put lavender essential oil into every massage oil, into your moisturizer, into your bath. So it aggravates Vata. People, it will dry you out. That is how you get dry skin. Aggravates Vata, makes you a bit vapid, a bit dreamy. So all of the time you're like, you know, like the dreamers that wander around on a cloud. If you're not careful, too much lavender makes you that. Pacifies Kapha. So it stops you feeling sluggish, stops you feeling heavy. It's not really directly indicated for constipation, but that shift of energy through Kapha would release not only constipation, but congestion in the sinuses. And pacifies Pitta. Well, Pitta is hot, so it's calming. It reduces inflammation. Anything that's red, hot, angry, it'll calm it down. So there we go. So first, I've got my smelly stick. And really, this is only because then I can stick it down my top and you won't be able to see it. So we could use aroma pendants, we could use massage oil, sniffy sticks, whatever. This is just what works for me, and that's the most important thing, that it's the thing that works for you. So cedarwood Virginian is a fast oil, if I remember rightly. So this is quite a thin distillation. Ooh. And then we'll mop up everything off the table. Dip it up, wipe it up. Oh, so beautiful, it's smoky. It's beautiful, and I can tell you the lecture is about tapping into your ancestral line, and given that my ancestral line
is full of wizards and witches. That's very helpful. Lots of plant healers coming to my aid. So a bit of lavender. Warm the bottle. You'll notice I cover the thing. It's not because I'm covering the labels, although it's because I can't be bothered going, don't ask me which oils I use, but it's more because it's very cold in this shed, so things get stiff, especially myrrh. Goodness me, when we come to do the myrrh video, I'll have to warm it up 3 weeks before. And then beautiful, beautiful rose. Look at the colour of that. Beautiful. It's my favourite bit, you know, was it waiting for it to come out, just seeing the colour. Have I got the nerve to let it drop? I have. Go on, mix, 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 blend. You know, whenever I try and do videos, I always want to have the image of oils mixing, and it nobody ever quite videos that effectively. I think it would be beautiful. Look at that. Oh my goodness, that is sheer heaven. Just beautiful. So yeah, if you obviously want to buy the cards, there's a link underneath that tells you where to get them from. But also, if you want to use the knowledge base, there's a link through to that too. And goodness me, when you start to smell that and you feel all the knowledge base opening up all the different shifts in the body and how they move and how they're executing through the physical body, it's really extraordinary. It's a whole new layer to plant medicine. So there we go. That is how to do the blending. Can't wait for you to watch Gerdlo talk about proper blending in a minute. Did you enjoy the spread? Those of you who watch this every day must be going, oh, the spread. I have no intention of recording it again. Get used to it. For those of you who watched it for the first time, I hope you enjoyed seeing how the essential oil cards work, the oracle cards. But for now, let's talk about the safety of lime essential oil, because it's a citrus, and citruses are naughty guys. They are. So we talked first of all in video 1 about how they're extracted, and I hinted that there might be a problem with phototoxicity because some of the lipids pass through when into the essential oil. So what we have to be careful of with citrus oils is that when they are exposed to direct sunlight or to a sunbed, I'll tell you that story in a minute, then they can cause irritation and blotchiness on the skin. So we are very, very careful when we use essential oils in sunlight. So it would be one of the least risky oils for phototoxicity, in my opinion. However, I'm not a safety expert. Somebody else may disagree with me, but I would still try not to use it in dilutions of less than 0.5% if it was if I was going to be out in the sunshine, and I'm talking about bright sunshine, you know. But otherwise, maximum dilution is 3%. So if you're not clear on what that is, get a teaspoon of carrier oil. So a teaspoon is 5 millilitres, and we say that there are around about, based on viscosity, 20 drops of carrier oil in a mil. So 100 drops would be exactly what we have in a flat teaspoon, give or take, but it's enough. So then if we put 1 drop in, then we'll be at 1% dilution, won't we? 3 drops would be 3% dilution. So if you say, right, okay, I am going to be going out in the sunshine today, how do I do half a drop of this? Well, you can either do 2 teaspoons or do what I do, and that's use a tablespoon of oil, 1 drop. You're nice and low below the line, and you're really protecting your skin. But remember as well, But with lime in particular, most of the magic is in the smell anyway. So we don't necessarily need to be using topical applications. I've got to tell you, it's not an oil I would put in the bath. So I have two stories. That was a bad thing to do. I was going to show you how to inhale, but that's galbanum. It was like, whoa, that's completely wrong. So, you know, if you think, well, I really do need the lime energy, I need to have a bit of sass. Right, okay, so all we need to do is get the oil, and we're going to breathe in. And you know, it's not very technical. It's really not. But all you want the oil to do is to go to start acting and reacting on the receptors in your brain. Particularly, think about in the amygdala. Amygdala is fear. So immediately it goes, oh, it's enough. I don't need you. I don't need you. And they really work very, very quickly. So within about 5 minutes, you start to see an effect. So I usually say to people, sort of sit with the oil for 5-10 minutes and just take that time to let it start doing its magic. Don't put it in the bath. I did once. That was a bad plan. In fact, I have 2 citrus cautionary tales because those of you who watch the videos will probably have realised if there's a rule, I'm going to test it. I'm always going to test it. So I decided I needed to have this. I had this beautiful new underwear and I was absolutely, I needed the sass. So I put the lime in my bath and I was out there like a shot. Could I do anything that night in that new underwear? I could not. I was so itchy, sore, itchy all over. Don't put it in the bath. Likewise, and this was grapefruit. This was grapefruit, not lime, but the same thing. I had put a small amount of grapefruit. Actually, I hadn't even put it on the skin. I'd been mixing some blends for other people and then kind of gone, oh, and then get rid of it. Forgot about it, went on the sunbed on the night. And I'm going back nearly 30 years now because there's no way. Well, I went on a sunbed once. This was the once and that was enough. Oh, my goodness me. Oh my goodness me. The next day I had to go to work on the bus and it was an hour and 35-minute bus ride and it was in the days where the seats were really, really hairy and prickly. A horrible sort of, I don't even know what it was called. I could not sit still. I could not sit still. So don't take risks with citrus oils in the bath, in my opinion. Although I do use mandarin in the bath, but not lime. And really watch for sunbeds and bright sunlight too. Maximum dilution, as I say, 3%. Is it an oil you could use for children? Yeah, I think it is. If you get your dilution low enough, I genuinely would go 0.5%. And the reason why I say that is because it's very easy to think about, right, the important thing with a citrus oil is not to use old oils because the monoterpenes oxidize, then the stability goes out of the oil and that's when we start getting skin sensitivity. But do we say, right, on Tuesday it's okay, on Wednesday it's not? Do we really know that? It's stages, isn't it? It's gradual. So I tend to go very, very low dilution or just not put them in the bath because who knows at what stage that oil is. You could have a date, you don't know how long ago it was bottled, you might know how long you've had it, but you don't know how long it sat in the warehouse beforehand. And so gradual, you know, so I just am a bit overly cautious because of the travelling on the bus that day. So yeah, so in the same way, we don't want to use high concentrations on children because it is a bit of a sharp oil, but certainly for inhalation, beautiful for kids, particularly if you've got somebody who's very reticent, perhaps is struggling with school at the moment and very shy. Really, the inhalation of lime is beautiful. So you could put it on an aroma pendant, but just watch again. If you've got one of those lava balls that sits on the skin, just watch the skin. And of course you can just dilute it, can't you? Dilute it right down into your carrier oil. If you're clever like me, of course I'm clever like me, go tablespoon, We've still got the fragrant molecules, haven't you? That's what you want. That's what you want. So, safe around cats and dogs. Well, I can't see any reason why you wouldn't. But then I also can't see any reason why you would want to. Is it safe in your diffuser while you're diffusing it in the living room to make yourself feel happier? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. Can't really think of a reason why you would want to put lime onto a creature. Not at beginner level anyway. And so, yeah. Watch your phototoxicity. Watch your old oils. And, yeah, just keep your dilutions low. Otherwise, very easy, very easy. So, a beautiful oil to use, but how do we use it? How do we get involved in the blending? What does Gergely have to say about how to blend lime essential oil?
Hello, this is Gergely, and this is my blending video part in video 2 for lime. So today we are looking at lime, and the keyword is unravel. And I especially love this illustration because of that exquisite green color lime has. It just has that, you know, that kind of like composite feeling when you touch lime. It's not like mandarin or orange or the other citruses. It's really sturdy, you know, unless it's really ripe. But my first thought would come when I'm thinking about lime is definitely food and definitely drinks. A lot of people go out and enjoy themselves on beaches, in clubs, or wherever you go with friends or at parties. And I'm sure you experienced a couple of drinks with cocktails, especially with lime. This citrus, the Latin name is Citrus aurantifolia, if I'm right in English, and that particularly means a shiny leaf. Or it's because if you think about citruses and you look at their leaves, they have the kind of waxy, shiny top, and then, you know, even for feel and touch, it's kind of waxy, kind of shiny, like slippery, whatever. So this citrus is a little bit different for me when I'm blending, because it's not like mandarin, it's not like orange, it's not like lemon or grapefruit. It has that very special. Okay, let's talk about the aroma description of this essential oil. It's definitely green, it's definitely sweet, it is just like a citrus notes, and definitely fresh. And in general, I would say it is a refreshing and uplifting aroma. So, and as most of the citruses, it's a top note. And when you're blending with citruses, then my first thought that I have in mind is lime and coriander. It's because I love Oriental food, I love Turkish food, and you can have lots of sauces with lime, coriander, ginger, and other spices. Also, you know, there's a great recipe of some kind of like a dip for beef steaks from Argentine, which has lime, coriander, ginger, all sorts of, you know, chilies and all sorts of things in it. it's just like a wonderful dip. It's because lime gives that kind of zesty feeling to most of these sauces, just as in blending. So what does it blend well with? It's a very versatile oil. You can use it for natural perfumery. You can use it for therapeutic reasons. And the first thing, if I'm talking about therapeutic uses, the first thing that comes into my mind is definitely some kind of digestive disorders, or, for example, lack of appetite. Make this blend of lime and coriander, and maybe you can add some more spices, and then just diffuse it in the air. And someone who is lacking appetite, I'm sure that in a couple of minutes they would say that I would like to eat something. So definitely it blends well with citruses, all the other citruses more or less. Then amazingly, it blends well with sage, for example, but also not so much with sage, just not the sage like Salvia officinalis, but definitely with clary sage. So it's another sage type. Then I would call out citronella, or I would call out Mei Chang, or even lemongrass, or lemon eucalyptus. And in general, the last four, they have the kind of aldehyde feeling. They are very similar. They have some kind of similarity in the aroma, the kind of like soury smell. So I would call them just like the aldehydes, or the aldehydes to make it shorter. So then also it blends well with rosemary, but it blends well with the flowers, like the white flowers, neroli, or even with jasmine sometimes. But you could blend it well with lavender and lavandin. Also goes well with ylang ylang, most of the fractions, but maybe like complete is the best option to use with lime, and also with petitgrain. Then some of the spices like nutmeg, and I already mentioned coriander. But it also blends well with some of the absolutes like vanilla or jasmine, which is another white flower. Now, with this essential oil, I actually have to mention some safety issues. The reason is because it is a cold pressed oil, so that actually it's cold pressed from the rinds of the citrus fruit. And as most of the citrus oils, this is phototoxic. So that means, if you put it on your skin and you are exposed to sunshine or any kind of UV ray, then you might get this pigmentation, which lasts forever, or hopefully not forever, but for a long time. So if you really want to use lime for diffusing in the air and then blend it, make a blend that you don't put on your skin, then you can go with the cold pressed version, because it has I think it has a fuller aroma than the distilled version. But if you want to go for natural perfumery, then I would go for the distilled lime oil, which is completely safe to use on skin. And you have many reliable sources that you can get this essential oil. So when you are looking out for essential oils, and especially lime or the other citruses, and then you look for vendors that see in the description if it's a cold press oil or if it's a distilled oil, because that actually determines the way you can use it. If you like this video, come back for another one. We have loads in the recipe hub. And until that, as I always say, happy blending, folks.
I love watching these videos. I'll give away a secret actually. When I record this, I haven't seen his video, so I'm excited to see what he's put about lime, because now the more I think about it doing this video, the more I think I need a bottle of lime. So I shall be watching with care. So in the meantime, like I say, do treat yourself to all of the assets. Remember, this is free. Go and get that off your ebooks. Please do consider getting your own set of the Tongue of the Trees cards. If you are in the UK, it is now available on Amazon and available from Fragrant Earth, who have also got some of the most stunning citrus essential oils, as well as other essential oils. So feel free to treat yourself to any of their essential oils while you are there. Also, if you're in the United States, get in quick, because Jade Shoots at the School of Aromatic Studies is selling these cards so fast we can't keep up. So yeah, there's a link on below here that will show you how to get them from Jade, and in the next few weeks hopefully you will be able to get them in India and also in Australia. Incidentally, if you're in another country that I have not mentioned, Fragrant Earth will do international shipping right across the globe. So treat yourself. And if you do want to get the Recipe Hub or the Knowledge Base, both of those, there's links below, and they are digital downloads or digital databases that you can access immediately if you want to get to work. Perhaps you want to make some products for Christmas, or just, you know, really zazz up your essential oil usage. So for now, thank you for being with me, and I look forward to speaking to you next week.
You get your phone, you turn it this way up, and then there's a little red subscribe button. Turn it grey by clicking it, and then there's a little bell. Click that and press all at the bottom of your phone or tablet or computer. It will say you will receive all notifications, and then there's a little hand with a thumbs up. Click that, it'll turn it blue and it says added to your liked videos, and there will be comments, and if you want to you can send a comment and say like hi's to Mum and Gergely, and then the link to the next video will be in the description below underneath the video. So bye.